so very long, and I am not sharing any of the tea. It is mine. So there.
Hey, internets. It's Jake from Mini Terrain Domain, and this is the Dawnbringers. Season 6, The Wild Beyond the WitchLight. And this is episode 10, Cauldron Bubbles. And you can tell I've learned to give it a moment before I try to introduce, because sometimes people have the giggles or food talks or sugar high or all of those things.
That's all.
Yeah, sometimes we just need to get stuff out, Jake.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, I was going to say, speaking of getting things out, nope, that is a terrible segue.
Again.
All right, in just a few moments, we're going to play some Dungeons and Dragons, Goblin Katie is trying so hard to cast a charm spell on all of us, and I think it's working.
And it's working.
I think it's working. This is a no saving throw involved.
Nope, you're all first now. Sorry.
Couple of quick announcements before we play some D&D here. Of course, first and foremost, a huge thank you to Session Zero Clothing, who is sponsoring our stream. Session Zero Clothing has a selection of nerdy t-shirts, long sleeve shirts, sweatshirts, jackets, hats, accessories for your next Session Zero. Follow the affiliate link below and use code MTD0 to get 10% off of your order. And I have my hat back here on a hook, but I've got an awesome Session Zero hat. I've got some of the stickers over here on my workbench. Lots of great stuff, new designs, and check them out. Also check out our channel sponsor, Talon and Claw. Talon and Claw, of course, makers of fine wooden gaming accessories such as these awesome dice vaults. This one, my favorite, aromatic cedar. And not just because it's from Talon and Claw, it smells wonderfully of cedar and houses some amazing dice, but it was also gifted to me by the one and only Katie. But they do have a lot of great gaming accessories down here. Still waiting, because I got it in 2020, I think. But still waiting for a chance to play an in-person game is my Talon and Claw wooden DM screen with the MTD logo on the front. They do all kinds of customizations, cool accessories. Check them out. And when you go to check out, use code MTDClaw and get 10% off of your purchase. And to answer your question, Frag, yes, I will still screw up their names, even though one or both of them is not here. It is a given. I recently started screwing up names in my other, our Monday night game too. I'm a grandpa now. I don't even need to make excuses. It's just, I'm Grampy Jake. That's what I do. I forget names. What else do we got? Well, as I mentioned, on Monday nights, of course, you can tune in to catch the Scribes and Scrolls, the Candlekeep Mysteries crew. Things are getting, hairy with them. We're right on the same wavelength. Let's just say the full moon was involved, and it happened at sea while on a ship. With somebody you all are familiar with. They were traveling with Captain Dervish and his new crew. Also,
Dreadnought.
Also, tomorrow night, tune into Nerdarchy, just Nerdarchy on YouTube, the main channel, and you will find our wonderful Game Master Ted running us through Untraditionally Arcane, where we are all playing untraditional arcane wizards. I play Ordo Wonderbeard, the Beardomancer. And you can catch Frag, who's in chat right now, is also in that game, as well as a couple other amazing people. So tune in tomorrow night for that. And the last announcement is we just announced this last week on Twitter. It's official now. June 16th, starting with the Dawnbringers and going through June 20th, which is a Monday, and is ending with the Scribes and Scrolls crew. We have our first ever Mini Terrain Domain Presents Call to Adventure, benefiting Game to Grow. It is a 5-day charity event where we are going to have a game on Friday night, 3 games Saturday, 3 games on Sunday, and then, as I said, bookended with our regular 2 shows. We're going to be raising money for Game to Grow, a Seattle-based mental health organization. And we are actually going to have some of the founders and folks from Game to Grow will be either running or in games that weekend, as well as some special guests that we're lining up. You want to stay tuned to mine and Dwight's Twitter for the latest news, as in the next couple weeks we'll be not only releasing who's going to be playing with us, but we are going to open up some seats so you yourself could have a chance to play in one of those games. So we are very excited about that. Stay tuned for more information. Since it just happened, I was reminded, look up above V's head and you will see the magical appearance of a domain die. Domain dice are a way that you, the viewers, can have a bit of an impact on what happens at this game table, simply by subscribing, resub, gift subs, cheer 500 bits, tip $5, or do it through the Ko-fi link. Those turn into domain dice that the players can use for re-rolling, making me re-roll, getting out of rest, healing. They can help them during death saving throws. Or their all-time favorite use is the Patron's Blessing, using 5 domain dice to turn any hit into a super crit. So with that, the last thing that I want to mention before we get started here, of course, is that you matter. Your presence on this earth makes a difference, whether or not you believe that. And I know I say it every game, I say it before every game, but I don't want you to think it's just a rote thing that I repeat. It's something we mention because we genuinely want you to know that you matter. It's important that you know this. It's also important that you know that if you're not okay, that it's okay to feel this way. But you do not need to struggle alone. There are a lot of things and resources that are available if you need somebody to talk to or somebody to reach out to, but maybe you don't know where to go. You can, in our chat, it'll appear at the bottom of the screen, or it'll show up in chat periodically, or you can just type !help. The findahelpline.com URL will show up, all one word. Hit enter. All you have to do is put where you're located in the world, and it will return numerous health services based on your location. So please, if you are somebody who needs help, use that. Bookmark that site for yourself. Save it for a friend. Just keep it handy. With that, I think it's time to play some Dungeons and Dragons. We are, of course, deep into the Feywild, and things have been going fairly well for the most part. You've been meeting the challenges that you've been facing, but you've also been finding that there are certain rules, such as the rules of reciprocity and the rules of hospitality, and things like that, that you need to be aware of. Also, that people like to manipulate your words and the way deals go. And nobody knows that better than our own Cantriel, a former resident of the Feywild, who turns out can twist a phrase just as easily to get what she wants. Most recently, while working through the swampy region of Downfall, you have met the current Bullywug King of the region, and been designated emissaries of the Soggy Court, tasked with returning a book to Bavlorna Blightstraw, the head of this realm of Hither. You have also learned that there is possibly a rebellion brewing. You have helped to rescue a Bullywug who assisted Sir Talavar in his escape. She was imprisoned for stealing a balloon, so you helped her break out of jail so she could steal another balloon belonging to some Darklings who were running a business out of it. And of course, it was a Stormcloud balloon that is now hovering somewhere up above the mists, with them waiting for your signal. As you made your way closer and closer, going around this area of downfall, you heard the haunting sounds of dual pipes, dual flutes being played, and it was a tune that Cantriel you recognized, a tune known in your family and that you had not heard for over 100 years. You found your brother Octavio in amongst a mushroom grove, but he seemed to have no memory of who you were or who he is, saying that he made a deal with the hag to forget a lost tragedy, and then when he didn't want to go through with his end of the bargain, she forcefully took his heart and replaced it with a paper heart. And you agreed that you would get his heart back and restore it to him. And that is where we left off. You did learn that a little bit further on in the direction you've been going, you are supposed to be looking for a cauldron that is going to somehow be the key to you getting to the actual cottage of Bavlorna Blightstraw. And so you are leaving behind you the place where the mushroom grove is. In the slightly to the west of that is the large barkless tree stretching up into the sky, but the wooden planks continue on away from where you left Octavio. What do you want to do?
Rolo is feeling very humdrum.
Rolo,
Yes.
can you feel that little bit of you that isn't quite with you anymore?
Yes.
Could you follow that feeling?
Well, I think so. We go this way.
And Rolla will head off in the direction that she feels that connection pulling her.
Okay. You feel the connection pulling you from the middle of the lake, in this sort of swampy area, which means if you're going to move towards that feeling, you would begin walking towards the big giant tree, which would take you off of the path you were walking on, sort of moving northwesterly.
Wait, we have to go this way to head to it.
We'll follow that lead.
How intent are you on following this, Rolo? Are you paying attention, or are you just blindly following the sensation?
Rolo is following it, but at the same time, she's kind of keeping an eye out for what's going on around her, just because she got eaten almost earlier. So she's a little paranoid at this point of something jumping out of like a catfish jumping out of the water and swallowing her.
Well,
Thorgarn would probably be like up trying to, not that he's going to notice anything in response to like Cantriel's amazing perception, but at least, try to something that's close to a path and be able to jump in the way if something happens to, jump out at Rolo.
Rolo appreciates you.
so the direction you are going, it only takes you a few moments as you approach this tree to quickly come to the shoreline, realizing that there is no path leading this way directly.
Rolo could fly there, or I can summon a disc for Thorgarn
and oh goodness, what I forgot. Talmud.
Oh, Talmud can walk.
Oh, pretty.
Well, and just a reminder, because it's been a couple weeks since we played, you did learn that if you follow the path, there's along the path, you'll get to the Bullywug sort of housing area, and somewhere in that vicinity is a cauldron that is supposed to take you directly to the cottage as well.
Yeah, for some reason I had it in my head that Rolo's feelings were leading us toward the cauldron, but yeah.
Maybe we should take advice and go to Cauldron.
Yes.
It
must be a shortcut.
Yes.
Rolo. An acorn bops off of your head.
Really look around.
Make a investigation check.
Okay.
You, I'm proficient in investigation. Yay. Oh, that was a journey. It's going to be a 12.
Okay.
It's hit it on 20 and then tipped.
You look around and other than the fact that you're under a tree, you don't see anything in particular. Damn it. First freaking time I say it.
Wait, Thorman?
I said Thormid, and my own fault because being a smartass, I put Jeremy's name in the chat for the fill-in window as Talgorn.
The inverse of Talgorn.
That's my life now. I don't know any of your names. I'm gonna look because I almost just called you Talmud. Thorgarn. Good lord. It's only been 2 weeks since we played. Thorgarn, does a 22 hit you?
Yes.
You take 1 piercing damage as a tiny arrow hits you right in the neck.
You have a dart in your neck.
What?
Drowned, does a 16 hit you?
Yes, my armor class is garbage.
Thunk! You get shot in the shoulder with a tiny arrow.
I look in the direction the arrow might have come.
Anybody who is now aware, I think everybody's aware that this is sort of happening. You can make investigation checks.
Oh yeah, that's gonna.
It was just the 1 piercing damage, nothing else.
Just 1 point of
Riding along with
piercing
it?
damage. Fig, does a 19 hit you? There's a metallic clanging sound as an acorn bounces off of your shoulder.
The Thorgarn is looking in the opposite direction of where the arrow came, because clearly these things are, on the move. That's
Anybody else looking?
25 investigation for Drown.
Okay, 25. 30
21.
for
Right,
Fig.
Fig's 30.
I got a nat 20 and I have
Oh,
plus
my.
10 to my...
There you go.
So Fig is like the Terminator with just this like thermal vision, red scope. Ping, ping, ping. You spot in the tree, and anybody else who got a 15 or higher would notice, running around the branches of this tree are 4 sprites. They occasionally will hop, crossing large gaps of the tree branches, and you'll see their wings, and they'll land, and you can see that they've got tiny little quivers and tiny little bows. A couple of them are hoisting acorns, and they look like they're getting ready to throw another acorn. One of them is hoisting this acorn up and is about ready to throw it down, and then it notices Fig and Drown and Cantriel. What'd you get on investigation?
21.
And in Cantriel, you all are looking up at it, and it's like looks like it's trying to fit it back in against one of the branches.
No. Cantriel's like already starting to pull the bow up and just sort of like notch it halfway with an arched brow.
Can Fig is going to cast levitate on himself and is going to rise up with the little arrow in his hand until he wants to be at like eye level with this tiny sprite on the branch. And he reaches up with the little arrow. I do believe that you or one of your friends dropped this. And he gives the arrow to the sprite.
The sprite holds out their hand and says, "Oh, thank you so much. I look forward to shooting it into your shiny metal ass when you walk away."
Fig like tilts his head. What, like, do they have a color or are they like
I don't know, you tell me. What do they look like?
I think that they probably, because we couldn't see them right away, I imagine they probably have this like shifting green color that mimics the light when it hits leaves. It creates that like shifting yellows, greens. And so as he's talking, I imagine it has that like shifting color.
They even have sort of almost a translucence, like sunlight passing through a leaf, for sure.
And Fig wants to use his glamour to try and imitate that look, because he really likes it. So he looks at that and he looks and he's like, "You might not be very nice, but you are colorful. So I will forgive you."
So you shift your entire armor form to look like that shimmering green?
Yeah, just his armor, I guess, is glamored. So yeah.
As you do that, he looks at you and his eyes get wide, and all of a sudden he puts his hands on his hips. "Hey, I was wearing that first. That is very rude." And he's going to he plucks one of those little helicopter seedlings, and with one hand just sort of strips the part that would be like the little helicopter part. And now it looks like, in his hands, it almost looks like a type of hammer. And he just flicks it right at your nose. Tink! It doesn't do any damage. It just bounces off of you. "And if you don't get out of here, I'm going to throw more stuff at you."
Fig looks down, sees like Cantriel and everyone else. He looks to everyone and they're not very nice.
No. Cantriel like quips back in Sylvan. Basically, it's like, for every few things you have to hit one of us, I only need one arrow and I can take care of all of you. Do you really want to irritate? Or perhaps just let us pass through?
Make an intimidation check.
Sure. She likes doing that here. She remembers why she left.
So, would you say these things are smaller than, like, our weapons?
They're tiny sized.
That's a 28.
That might hit.
One of the ones with the with its bow drawn, you hear the sound of that a bow makes when somebody has it drawn, and they release the tension on it. And you watch as these two other sprites, they just kind of go and put the arrow back in the quiver. "I'm not going to shoot at you, but I can't help it if acorns fall and happen to hit you on your way out."
Oh, that's fine.
Roll the acorns. and anything else in their vicinity.
Between you and Cantriel, you watch as the sprites, their color shifts to be more of the color of the wood of the tree, and they scamper and flitter up and disappear into a hollow in the tree. And a moment later, you see 8 eyes, bloop, 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 just blinking at you from inside this hollow. And you hear the unmistakable sound of a raspberry.
Rolo, you should send
a swear word in Sylvan.
Rolo, you should send a firebolt, just like
Cantriel cast. She's gonna have some fun and just cast some Tasha's Hideous Laughter towards the center pair of eyes.
Nice.
Okay.
Yes. Why not?
What's the save on that?
17 wisdom.
You just hear from inside. And then you hear that Sylvan word, swear word repeated. It is not a nice thing that they are calling you.
We're gonna keep moving. They're basically like small dogs. They think they're 128 something or others, and they're really only 12 pounds.
Right.
Well, look and fly up there and show them what's for.
Quite frankly, it's not worth the effort.
Okay.
They're more like a mild irritation when all's said and done.
Fig, are you still levitating up there in the branches?
Fig has come down as soon as Cantriel has said that, we're going to leave him alone. But Fig seems quite pleased the fact that he's kind of learned a new color scheme for his armor. So he seems quite focused on that.
You, Fig, are fitting very nicely with the overall theme of this bog. As you all turn to head towards the path in the direction of the cauldron, Cantriel, with your extra attention you were giving them and your passive perception, you know that when somebody when somebody is really tense, like their fists are balled up and their shoulders are hunched, and they finally relax, they just have that very subtle change in their posture. You notice that from the tree. The tree seems to relax as you walk away from this area. All right. So, back on the trail a little bit, you walk away from this tree, but keeping that feeling as you move down towards the path and start moving along this boardwalk, Rolo, you feel that constantly to your right, that subtle pull of curiosity. The boardwalk takes you a little ways, always only about able to see 30 or 40 feet in this thick fog. You come to a bridge. Thankfully, this bridge seems to be devoid of numerous bullywug heads chattering away on spikes. This is just an ordinary bridge across a small stream that seems to feed into the lake, or run out of it. I don't know how geography works. This particular area, as you cross the bridge, you can see the faint shadow off to the left and down a little path of a big round hut, but you also see immediately to your right that as you cross the bridge, there's a little T intersection and a set of stairs that lead up towards a one of these bullywug huts, and You can see that all of the shutters have been closed, and the door itself is closed. But as you all are moving across, Cantriel, again with your perception, you catch sight of a curtain pulled slightly to the side, and you see a set of eyes watching you. Bullywug eyes. You do anything?
She won't make it obvious that she's seen anything, but she sort of just stops with the group. Don't look anywhere. Just keep looking at me, but I know we're being watched. Bullywug.
You hear... Sorry, I talked over you. What was that?
Do they look angry or scared?
More taking in. Being observant, timid.
Okay.
Draw
You-
attention.
You hear this sound, Cantriel. It's just this little metallic creak sound, and you see the mail slot on the door creak open, because bullywugs get mail through their front door too.
Cool.
You just see this little mail slot go, and you can see the little bullywug fingers holding it open, and you see eyes peering out at you through that, and then the eyes move away, and you can just make out a mouth in front of the mail slot. Psst. Hey! Over here!
She'll go over. She goes over. Yes.
You!
Me.
You're the strangers.
Well, we are very strange, yes.
You were at the Soggy Court with King Gullup the 19th.
Yes, encountered the king. This is true.
He's a jackass.
Well, I certainly won't argue with you on that point at all, because I think I agree.
You quickly, the mail slot kind of dips down a little bit, and you hear, "Hey, she agrees. She thinks he's a jackass too. Let him in. Let him in. Quick, come inside." And the door opens a crack, and you can see, since you're right up there, that just inside the door, you can see that this bullywug is standing there with a spear. But behind him, you see there's 4 more bullywugs, that they're all huddled around something and talking in hushed whispers. And with the door cracked open, they look at you and they go, "Come in, come in. Bring your friends, bring your friends."
Come in. Cantriel waits until the last of us is in.
Folds
you-
himself through the front door.
As you walk in, Drown, the bullywug, watching everybody go in, and as you come in, the bullywug just looks up at your massive form. By the gods! You all walk in, and you see that in addition to the 4 bullywugs that are sort of huddled together, there's a wooden crate. You can see there's a bunch of hunting gear piled up on top of it. And you get a feeling that with these hushed whispers and the way everybody's kind of looking around as you all walk in, there's just this air of tension in the air. One of the bullywugs steps forward and says, "You're the ones. We're meeting with King Gullup the 19th, emissaries of the Soggy Court, yes?"
By title, yes.
Correct.
But you think the king is a jackass.
Most of us are not from around here, and the one of us who is able to see.
I can tell you're not
Always
from
been
around
lost.
here. Well, you look like you might be not from
Once
here.
upon a time, I'm an expatriate, you might say.
Ah, well. My name is Illig, and I am the Baron of Muckstump.
You know, we've heard of you.
You have
Yes.
good things or bad things.
Well, quite frankly, not enough to be able to make that determination for ourselves.
Good. That means King Golub might not know what we're planning. This is Glorig. This is Grundelkrantz, Gullabek, and Volp. And each of them sort of bows slightly.
Let
No
me guess, you're
Rosencrantz?
planning to cut his head off and put it on a spike.
Unfortunately,
Roll, give a
Rosencrantz
little
was
bit.
killed.
Poor thing.
Guildenstern is taking care of things elsewhere.
That doesn't surprise me.
Probably
The family
not
is
for long.
known for that.
I'm sorry, what did you say, Rolo? And just FYI, Katie, your voice cuts out if you go too high or too far back from your mic.
Oh no! Let me see if I can. I don't know what I can
I mean,
do because I'm on a.
It shouldn't be a
tablet.
problem with you talking too high every time you talk as Rolo.
Red, Rolo will talk like this for the rest of the day.
I don't know.
There we go.
Rolo curtsies.
As I said, King Gullop is a jackass. He's a witless buffoon unworthy of the crown. We are going to overthrow him. We have been planning for days a coup. And he proudly steps to the side, and you see where the dried mud, or where the mud from the bog has sort of dried on the floor or partially dried. It looks like the bullywug fingers have crudely drawn a depiction of King Gullop with a dagger sticking in his eye. That is the entirety of their plan.
So
If
can
nothing, you're consistent.
can I ask a question? Don't your rulers only like last 2 weeks? Wouldn't it be like better for all of you to talk it out and come up with a plan that's gonna not just decapitate the previous person so that it angers somebody else to then want to decapitate you? And
Rolo suspects it is the reason they only last 2 weeks.
right, so isn't there like a better way?
I'm the better way. All the kings before were jackasses. I'm not. That's the plan.
Now can you say that while you think you're not a jackass, will all of your people say that you're not a jackass?
Glorik, what do you say? Definitely not a jackass. Grundelkrantz? No jackasses here. Gullabek? Certainly not. No, not a jackass. And Volp? Jackass. You are not.
But do you think the rest of the people, and I'll look towards the other four.
The four that
People.
just all agreed that he's not a jackass?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll kind of address them. Now, do you think the rest of your people will agree with you? Or do you feel that there are some people who are going to be more in line with the current king, the 19th?
You see them kind of looking at each other. Make an insight check.
I want to use a domain die.
I have a few of those.
Yeah.
One
How
or
do you
two.
feel? How do you feel about 22?
It beats even the highest one, which was 14. So, at least two of them, you kind of see these play of expressions across their face that they almost almost like a scowl or a frown, but the other two immediately. No, it won't be a problem whatsoever. If anybody tries to refute it, our plan is to deal with them and show them the error of their ways.
So I'll look to the two people that look like there was any bit of hesitation. I'm like, look, I can kind of see what you're thinking, and just know that you have a lot of people. You can only put so many heads on sticks and pikes before it creates a larger problem. If you honestly think this guy's great, that's fine. Even the slightest chance that there's anyone out there that might have a problem, it's a problem with the guy that you want to put on the throne, because it's his head that's at stake. And I'll kind of like, with that sentence, I'll kind of turn towards, the.
Is Rolo supposed to say something?
Does Rolo want to say something? Please, by all means, take the floor.
He was supposed to say something.
You're expending a tremendous amount of effort trying to get these people to go against their nature.
Yes.
Listen.
That's what we do, isn't it?
That's what we do. That's what I'm saying. All of this is what we do.
No, what we do is we try to come places and improve them.
And that is what I am doing. I am trying to improve on things. We will.
No, you are doing what everyone else has done before you. You think the problem is the king's a jackass, therefore cut off his head.
No. That is where you are wrong.
Okay, what is your plan?
That is what we are doing different. We are not going to cut off his head. We're going to poke him in the eye with a dagger.
Okay, you're still planning to kill him, right?
Well, yes, of course.
That's what everyone else has done. They've killed the predecessor and seized control.
Right, but nobody has stuck somebody in the eye with a dagger. That is the entire platform I've been running on. Well, not publicly, of course. This is a coup. It's not like an open election.
So who's going to be the new king?
Well, me, of course.
Queen. All right. Now, this particular king has lasted how many months now?
Months? It's been
exactly
a little over a 10-day.
Exactly.
All right.
So,
is there anything we need from these folk? They're dead set on plans.
Do you plan to tell King Golub the 19th of our attempts?
Rolo would like to stay as far out of this as possible.
They are looking you up and down. If King Golub the 19th learns what we are attempting to do, well, I can only assume that he learned it from you and will have to poke you in the eye with a dagger. But I hope it doesn't come to that.
mm-hmm.
As you can see, and he indicates the chest with all the hunting gear, we have lots of daggers. There are 3 daggers on the table.
That's
good.
lots. You don't even have enough for all of you.
We're going to share.
So
Barrett only takes one.
Real quick, I put down Forge Chain, then Faithkeeper, then the Scimitar.
Are you donating to our cause?
No.
And I put down 3 throne hammers, all at my side. These are mine. These are what I use.
Ooh,
And I don't consider this lots. And I quickly, before anyone decides to hands, I put my stuff back.
They may not be very bright, but they're not foolish.
Rolo will cast Mage Hand and scoop up the 3 daggers in the hand.
Okay. Make a dexterity check with your spellcasting modifier.
8. Let me double check what that is. Okay.
5. Dex check. One. No, I gotta click it. Come on. Okay, hang on. Oh, there it goes. So that's a 15.
You get 2 of the daggers, but one of them is snatched. What is it?
16.
You get 2 of the daggers, but one of them is snatched. You got a dirty 20 as one of them, as your mage hand is scooping them up, grabs at this. What are you doing?
Just showing that now you have 1 dagger.
Well,
Your plan has flaws.
it only takes 1 dagger in the king's eye.
What if you miss?
Well, we won't. I mean, that's not in
You
the
will.
plan. Missing is definitely not in the plan.
All right, shall we test the plan? Shall we test out the plan then? Because that's something that could quite easily be solved. Do you have a pillow or something?
Wait, question. Are we going to help them?
No,
Okay, then
I
what
just
do
want to see how far they're.
You have
into
never
this
seen
idea.
somebody get so excited and so deflated so quickly as, are you going to help them? And your immediate no, as they all go, oh.
Is there any sense of martial prowess in their stance or their movements?
Oh no, these are definitely 4 idiots that are trying to overthrow an idiot king.
All right. If you wish to entertain these, that's all well and good, but I don't think there's any advantage any longer.
As long as you don't intend to interfere. But I like what you said. We need to practice.
Yes.
We will do so. If you're not going to help, can we please have our daggers back and you can go about your business?
Do you promise not to put them in Rolo's eye?
I promise not to put them in a Rolo's eye, as long as a Rolo doesn't tell King Gullup the 19th about our coup.
I.
Yes, I.
Rolo looks to Cantriel.
They're not going to stick a dagger in Rolo.
Yes, that.
Will not stick a dagger in Rolo, as long as Rolo doesn't tell King Gullup the 19th about our coup.
Okay.
But
Which
we have
one
no
of you
interest
is
in
Rolo?
About your coup.
This is Rolo. Hello.
What was that, Drown?
Just saying, we have no intention of telling anyone about your coup. Best of luck.
Excellent.
I'm sure they won't see you coming.
That's the plan.
It's foolproof.
You can go now.
Oh,
Fantastic.
now that we have your permission.
As you all start to leave, you hear from inside, Glor Gundlekrantz Gulablack and Vloop. Vloop! You be King Gullup the 19th. Now hold really still. And that's the last thing you hear as the door closes behind you.
I think I know how Rosencrantz died.
Yes.
I knew that that was the direction that was going to happen. I was trying to get out faster.
We'd better practice. Oh boy.
Mhm.
Oh.
Well, I mean, it's certainly going to slim the chances of the coup actually coming to fruition.
Also, lessen the supporters, which means even if he's successful, means the next one's going to be even easier to happen.
As you all walk outside and you see where the boardwalk continues along, you can see as the mist shifts a little bit. Look, there's another hut off to the left, and you can see that there's a bullywug tending to a giant toad that looks to have some sort of saddle on it that he's attempting to fasten this saddle to this giant frog. And then you see the frog just suddenly opens its mouth, its tongue lashes out and grabs the bullywug and just and then spits the bullywug out onto the ground. You just hear the bullywug go, "All right, haha, very funny, very funny. I like when we play Swallow Me. That every time it's my favorite thing. Now please let me just fasten the buckle." And he's just sopping with frog saliva. A little bit beyond that. Oh, go ahead.
Rolo turns to the group and says,
Roll up in there. It's not fun game.
Oh,
You see
go ahead.
You see a little beyond that. There's what looks to be some sort of a guard tower rising up from a hill with a couple of bullywugs up inside it. And off to your right, just a little ways behind the conspirators' shack, and in the direction that you feel the pull of your curiosity, Rolo, you see that the land forms a very small sort of peninsula, and about 50 or so feet out is a small fire burning with a black cauldron hoisted above it.
Oh! Cauldron!
There it is.
Do we have to climb into Cauldron?
Seems likely we'll have to do something like that, but I'm not sure. Let's go see.
Okay.
I don't recommend you climbing in the cauldron.
Let's go check it out.
You cross around the squishy ground, very moist with the wet water of the swamp and the high waters, and every step sort of squishes. And as you get closer, you see that there is just this bulbous green-black cauldron with a very thick lid sitting above a bed of hot coals. And it sits on 6 iron legs that sort of protrude out from the curved bottom, almost like crab legs. Near the lid, the knob on the lid, there is a wooden ladle that hangs from a lanyard looped around the lid. The cauldron is about 3 feet tall and about 4 feet in diameter, sitting around this coal fire, and you can see the coals are hot, and the lid just every once in a while kind of rattles with the bubbling of whatever is inside it. What would you like to do?
Rolo would like to investigate to see if there is any obvious sign of how this cauldron could teleport someone.
Okay.
So would that be investigation or arcana?
Your choice.
I think they're the same. So I'm going to let's go with arcana. I haven't rolled that tonight. Should have gone with something else. That's a 12.
From what you can tell, this cauldron probably is cooking something. You catch the faint odor of something, not displeasant. That's not a word. Unpleasant. Displeasurable. I don't know. Displeasant is the word I'm using apparently. Yeah, not disgusting. No, it's not unpleasant odor. That's about all you can tell with that.
Rollo has assessed the situation and decided that there is something cooking in the cauldron. Perhaps Big can shed more light.
Big nods as if this was like a very good observation, and even like looks to Rollo and nods like an enthusiasm, and yes, I can also see that. And he wants to like kind of extend his arm out and just kind of lift the lid.
Okay. You reach a hand out to the lid, and as you put your hand on the lid, all of the legs of the cauldron just sort of straighten, and the cauldron stands upright above the fire and goes and scuttles away from you about 30 feet.
Oh, goody.
Rollo has again assessed the situation and decided that is not normal.
Oh, it's normal. It's just not commonly seen.
You hear, now that the cauldron is no longer directly over the fire, you hear from the coal fire this sort of
Something's dripping into it. Oh.
What?
And you see the coals sort of shift, not like they're falling aside, as the coals, you see little blinking eyes on the coals as these animated coals sort of shift out of the way. And the glowing red of the coals in the middle has a humanoid form, almost looks like a hunched over goblinoid creature with a long nose. And it sort of climbs up, so its upper torso is sticking out of the fire, and it goes, "Hey, you want to see what's in that cauldron? You want in the cauldron?
You know how the cauldron works?
Yeah, you're trying to get over to see, the hag, right? Bevlorn of
Yes.
Blightstraw?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that's the cauldron. I figured that. You know, you come over, you're trying to get in the cauldron, but you don't know how to get in. You don't know there's a password. You got to use the password to get into the cauldron. The cauldron takes you over to her cottage, but you don't know the password, or you wouldn't have tried to grab the lid. Am I right? Tell me I'm right. Somebody tell me I'm right.
I said you're not wrong.
Well, that's like saying I'm right. You can say it. It's okay to say it. Say you're right.
You're right.
That's all right. Thank you. Thank you. That's all I asked for. Look, I can get you in that cauldron if you want in the cauldron. And I can tell you want in the cauldron. You don't just come walking up here. What, you like 5, 6 deep here? You don't just come in, right?
What is it going to cost to get in the cauldron?
I see. You know what's going on. You know what's going on around here. You gotta sort of grease the fire, so to speak. You want to get what you want. You got to give a little something. It's kind of the law of the land, the law of reciprocity.
Yes, but
you
isn't
heard,
it ill-advised to grease her?
You heard him, Rollo. Said fire.
No. I'm already fire. Fire. What are you gonna do? You're gonna add more fire to fire?
Yes.
Listen.
No, Rollo will do this.
And she holds up her hand and casts prestidigitation, and an ice crystal forms above her hand, and then it melts into this like hanging globule of water.
Hey, now, hold on. Listen, I'm just trying to work a friendly deal here. It's nothing outrageous. Jeez. Put that away. You go walking around sticking your middle fingers up in polite social situations? Goodness gracious.
Finger up.
You might as well flash
It's a
and
metaphor.
freezing. Yeah, that's right. It's a metaphor. Listen, you look around here. What do you see? Swamp.
Swamp.
Look at this. Look at this. He holds up a glowing orange finger, reaches outside the fire, touches the ground, and immediately goes, "Kss." It's wet everywhere. Anytime there's any kind of wood, all it does is smoke and smolder. All the wood here is so damp. All I need, all I'm craving. You ever sit around a campfire when you got nice dry wood and you hear the crackling and the popping of the fire?
All the time.
So relaxing and enjoyable, right? The smell it makes. It's like, for me, that's a delicacy. If you can get me some nice dry wood, I'll give you the password. That's all there is to it.
Rolo reaches into the backpack on her chest and pulls out the bundle of wood she got from the storm.
That's right.
Be still, my flaming heart. Is that dry kindling?
Yes.
I will give you the password right now. But just put it on me. Just put it on me.
You promise?
It's not weird, I promise. It's not weird. Just lay it right here. So it's
Rolo looks at Cantriel.
come on. You can't dangle nice dry wood like that in front of me and not give it to me.
God damn it.
Come on, give me the wood. Give me the wood. Nobody
You're-
clip
you're,
that.
um,
Nobody clip that. Go ahead and clip
Oh, it's
it.
going to get clipped.
Go on.
Rolo looks at Cantriel as if to say, should I do it?
How about this? Half up front, we get the password, you get the rest after that.
I'll take it. I haven't even seen dry wood in I don't know how long. Come on, just give me a couple pieces. Come on, just give me a fix. Let me get a taste
Two
of it.
pieces. Rolo, he asked for a couple. A couple means two. Give him 2 pieces.
Rolo slowly
You're gonna do good here.
puts 2 pieces of wood in the fire.
As soon as you set the wood down, and it just immediately there's that sort of the sort of hissing sound as it just suddenly, and it does so. He just goes, "Oh yes, that is what I'm talking about." All right, I'm gonna give you the password. You give me the rest of the wood, and do a guy a favor and just don't look. All right, that's all I'm asking.
You got it, Sally. You got it.
All right, listen. I told you I'd give you the password. I'll give you the. Oh, Lord, that's so warm. Listen to that crackle. All right, it's spittle spew.
Spit-
That's
Lovely.
that's the password. That's the password. Give me the wood. Give me the wood.
Okay. Rolo feel very weird about this.
Rolo puts
It's a little weird, and I do apologize if I made you feel uncomfortable. It's not quite as transcendent as I'm making it out to be. It's not like it's not a Billy Crystal, Sally Field situation here. It's
Probably best if you don't explain.
yeah, right. See this guy, he gets it. Just give me the wood, look away, go to the Cauldron's over there.
Mm-hmm.
You got the password. You don't even
for the last piece, Rolo closes her eyes and covers them and turns her head away and just sticks the piece of wood in the fire.
It closes his simulacrum's eyes and Hermes' eyes, and then I imagine Hermes reaches up and closes Fig's eyes.
They're each closing each other's eyes. I love it. And you just hear a deep sighing sound and the sound of crackling firewood. And you now have the password to the cauldron, which still sits about 30 feet away.
Well,
Rolo is going to again cast Prestidigitation but I want to do it about 5 feet away from the cauldron, and I want to make just a little dancing flame to try to entice it to jump over the flame.
Make a performance check.
Performance. Oh, good. I'm a +0. That'll go well. 13.
Not terrible.
You create this little prestidigitate this dancing flame, and you sort of, as it begins moving, the cauldron sort of moves towards it, moves towards it, and you just keep luring it until it gets over. You okay?
I'm sorry,
The
every time I
music
did
was doing what you were doing.
the music did it right afterwards.
I didn't plan it that way. What's funny is the track playing right now is called Bunny Foo Foo's Bopping Orchestra.
Working.
As the cauldron, the music is doing the sound for me now, scuttles over to the flame. You see the little magman kind of notices it, and he goes, "Hey, get over here. This is," I said, "Don't look. Get over here. This is gonna be good." And kind of scoops all the wood together and slides down inside it, like sliding into a nice hot jacuzzi as the cauldron comes in over top and settles and just is now sitting on the fire. And that is the longest and weirdest euphemism I have ever performed.
I feel like that's going to have to be a highlight because it lasted more than 30 seconds.
Yeah.
I just think there's probably several clips in that section that's going to get,
Well,
All I'm saying is,
minutes. So
thank goodness Jeremy's not here. Jeremy would be succumbing to Tasha's hideous laughter right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he'd be incorrigible right now.
There would have been safe word jokes in the side chat. Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Love you, Jeremy.
I miss you.
Wish you were here.
All right.
All right, the
Spittle.
cauldron's in place. What do you do?
I tell it spittle spew.
As you say the word spittle spew, the lid of the cauldron begins to shake, and you hear that metal on metal sort of shaking sound. And then it sort of pops open, and billowing green and white smoke lifts up and almost immediately begins to spill down the sides and begins to creep around all of your feet and your legs and begins to, you feel the warmth of it. It's not unpleasant, but it begins to grab around your legs and it begins to lift up around you, and you all feel yourself as if you're being lifted into the air, as you are all completely surrounded and blinded by this steam. And that's where we're going to take our break. All right. Yeah, we're going to take a short break. And we will be back in about 10 minutes. So please do stick around. We'll see you on the back half of this game, where, who knows, it could be just as awkward, more awkward, or not as awkward. You can never tell with us. We'll see you in a few minutes.
It's more awkward.
I think that's a challenge.
It will.
Could have got.
I didn't mean it as a challenge.
Well,
Accepted.
Pistachio.
And we are back.
Hello back.
As the smoke begins to settle from around you, you all feel no longer the soft, squishy ground of the marshy area that you had been traversing. Instead, you feel... Damn it. I choose my words carefully, especially after that last scene. I'm just going to say
You
what
have
came to
no
mind.
one to blame but yourself for
There's no
that.
line. There's no line. Our lines, we have lines and veils, but our lines are kind of shoved to very specific areas for allowances as you find the feeling of firm wood beneath your feet. As you find yourself standing on a 10-foot wide balcony that seems to run the full length of a cottage. And this balcony is covered from end to end in living frogs. There look to be about 100 frogs. At each end of this balcony, attached to one corner of the cottage just beyond easy reach, is a clothesline draped with patchwork garments. These stretch out and disappear into the thick fog, presumably tying off somewhere by the tree or the guardhouse where you saw some of these when you were on the other land. As you all appear, it takes a moment for the frogs to suddenly register that there are now, 8 of you standing on this balcony. Which the balcony is about 45, almost 50 feet across, 10 feet deep. And then you hear, and it just turns into a cacophony of croaking frogs. What do you do?
And Fig pick up one of the frogs.
Good what?
And
Oh, I'm sorry.
And look at it.
it is just looking at you, just going "Brr, brr, 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 brr," very loudly.
Hush.
Fig's
does-
gonna look closer. Is there anything weird about these frogs, or are they just normal frogs?
Make an animal handling check. And it does appear to be just a normal frog.
I'm going to use a domain die. 14.
It pees in your hand. And you are perfectly sure now that it is a biological creature. It is a true biological frog.
Not a fey frog that all of this is an illusion.
No illusory frogs here. And they are continuing to make a very loud noise.
Rilla will turn to Thorgarn.
Thorgarn,
Yeah.
what do you do when you're afraid? Because you're really brave.
Well, thank you for that. I always just try to do my best.
Okay, so don't run away.
If you feel you need to, that's fine.
Okay, I wait and see.
You've got all of us here.
Wait,
Rolo, can you feel what you're missing any closer?
Yes, you can. It is definitely somewhere in this cottage.
oh yeah, it's here.
Well, let's make
There
for a
are
door.
2 windows and a door on this cottage. On this wall of cottage that you are currently on a balcony.
Is there a chimney?
You're on the balcony, so where you are, you're basically right up against it, so you cannot see if there
Can I
is
just knock on
a
the door?
chimney. You knock on the door?
Yeah.
Okay. There's no answer. The window that is next to the door, there's sort of a moldy looking curtain hanging in the window, and suddenly it moves to the side and you just see these large saucer like eyes press up against the window.
Do I recognize those eyes?
Any of you that saw the little frog-like creature at the WitchLight Carnival that was one of the Hourglass Coven's pickpockets would recognize it as one of these creatures, a Lornling.
But do I recognize them as the ones that popped up in front of me when my curiosity was taken?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look like it's the one, but it looks like one of those, because there's two of them that are currently looking through the window at you.
Okay.
But it's definitely the same type of creature. They look different than bullywugs. They have a more humanoid shape about them, but they're very small and long-limbed and very buggy eyes as they're staring at you through the window.
Is the lady of the household? Could we please speak to her? Could one of you go ask? Would one of you please go ask?
And one of them disappears.
Good job.
Yeah.
You hear...
Real now.
And she like scrambles up Cantriel and curls up around her neck.
You hear... The door latch turns and the door opens just a few inches. What do you do?
What we're here for. Pull the door open.
All right. You, excuse me, you pull the door open and you find yourself in a very large room. It's about 50 feet on a side. There's one door in the center of the west wall. You've sort of come in from the south. There's 3 doors along the east wall. And there are the 2 windows on your side, 2 windows all the way on the far north side. This particular space, the biggest feature in here is a recessed pool lined with moldy clay tiles that takes up most of this large square room. In fact, there's only roughly a 5-foot walkway around the outside, a 10-foot walkway around the outside edge. This thing is about 35 feet across. This pool that takes up the central area. Stagnant water fills the depression to about a foot. And then you can see rising from the pool's center is the very top of a stone well. And you can smell this unpleasant, pungent odor coming from the well. In one corner of the pool, which would be the northeast corner, so directly across from where you're at, because this door is offset to the right of this wall. On the far side, standing in the pool, is a freestanding mirror in an oval frame, and floating on the water is a very large lily pad, almost 8 to 10 feet in diameter. The floorboards, as you step across them, they creak underfoot, and they create sort of a raised walkway around this pool. The entire walkway around the outer perimeter of this pool is crowded with shelves, tables, and stools in all shapes and styles. Almost every available surface is littered with stacks of dirty plates, scraps of food. There's broken plates on the ground where they've fallen off the tables, and just old junk everywhere. On the far side corner, there are several dressing dummies that are pushed together, and a wooden staircase is spiraling up from the it was to the far right corner are all these dressing dummies. And the far left corner has a spiral staircase that goes up. You can see the 7 humanoid-shaped dressing dummies that stand in the corner. 4 of them are medium-sized, and 3 are sized ranging from dwarven size to kobold or gnome-sized. And 6 of them are wearing what looks like somebody's trying to learn how to sew, but is not very good at it. And 1 of them has a tall, pointed black hat on it. Fig, you just immediately went,
Ooh,
I'm gonna fight Fig
looks-
to get there.
Fig was very
No,
excited.
Rella's going to fly to Fig's head, and right when Fig goes to put the hat, assuming Fig is going to put the hat on his head, Rolo's going to swoop up in there to sit under the hat.
so you're going to walk all the way across this room towards this dummy to grab this hat, Fig? Okay.
Yes.
So as you all sort of enter this space, and Fig, you start walking across, you pass a set of stairs that lead down into this stagnant pool that looks like it's just not filled. Your footsteps ring a little hollow, and you hear this sort of creaking as you walk across the boards, but they bear your weight no problem. And then you get over to the far side where these dummies are, and you grab at the hat, and as you reach for the hat seems to unfurl, and you see where the crown of the hat comes up. You see several yellow eyes bloop, 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 open up, and what was the brim of the hat, several what look like almost like tentacles suddenly dangle down and immediately reach up and grab your hat and wrap around your hat, and it takes off flying with your hat.
I would like to fly
No.
after it, please.
Okay.
Yeah, Fig is going to run after his hat
That's-
that has all of his
my best
belongings
friend.
in there.
Uh-huh.
So as Fig's hat of holding has just been stolen by this weird floating hat thing, and Rolo is going after, what are the rest of you doing as you've entered this space?
Fig and Rolo are charging after this thing. I'm right on their heels.
Okay.
Drown is mostly just kind of, I don't know, probably his attention is drawn by the hat commotion, but was paying attention to though you said there was a mirror sticking up out of the pool, right?
Yeah, it's just the water in the pool is only about a foot deep, and it looks like it's just standing. It's actually not far from where the others were where these dummies were on that far side.
Right. Well, I think was going to be checking that out before the hat commotion happened. So
Okay.
he's thereabout-ish.
Were you going to go down into the pool or kind of try to look at it from above?
Just look at it from above.
Okay. And what about Cantriel? What are you doing?
The second Cantriel sees it start to flit off, she's going to Misty Step herself in front of it, about 30 feet away, and like sort of intercept.
Okay, so as the hat grabs the hat that's not a hat, grabs Fig's hat, it immediately takes off towards the left. Fig and Rolo and Thorgarn. I got it right, but only because I had to look at the overlay. I've only been playing with you for what, 2.5, 3 years, Ted?
Yeah.
I think it's
With
over
this
3 years
character?
in this game,
Jeez.
so.
You'll get there eventually.
Right. And then Cantriel, you sort of run forward a little bit, and then phoom, you poof over into this area, and the hat that's not a hat immediately turns and flies directly over the stagnant pool of water, and is sort of hovering there in this space. The ceiling is only about 10 feet high, so it's kind of bumping up against the ceiling along where this pool is, and just trying to stay out of the reach of everybody. What do you do?
Do I catch it? What's
You
it-
can. What's your speed?
I'm checking right now. I honestly, I don't know, because Erd is not formally recognized in D&D Beyond. So if we go by my walk speed,
Birds are in D&D
It's-
Beyond, aren't they?
no,
Not as a
it's just
race, but an
called-
Erd is.
As monsters. Yeah.
yeah, it's just listed as Kobold. But if it's like Aarakocra, it's 50. If it's like Aasimar, it's 30.
Probably equal to your walking speed.
Yep, exactly.
A winged kobold is 30.
Okay.
Which is also this thing's speed. So I'm gonna have you make a grapple check against it.
Okay.
So that's gonna be an athletics check.
Oh no.
And I
Fun here. Oh, 17.
Okay. A 5.
Woo-hoo!
So as it gets over top of the sort of where this pipe is, you fly forward and you're able to, and you grab a hold of it. And as you do so, the tentacles sort of release, and Fig, you watch as your hat of holding drops down into the well.
Oh, no.
And you can see from where you're at, Rolo, it doesn't drop very far. It almost, you realize that the water level of this well is right up near the top, but for whatever reason, it's not filling the pool. But your hat lands in this stagnant water in this well that sticks up about a foot above the water in the base of the pool. But you are now grasping at this creature, holding it tightly.
Okay. Rolo is going to continue her grip and say,
Hello, nice hat. My name is Royal. What's yours?
It sort of vibrates against you, but it doesn't speak in any way. You see as you're sort of hugging this thing, your wings flapping, you can feel it trying to break away from your grasp, and you just see 4 yellow eyes that are rapidly blinking at you.
Rolo is going to use one of her feet to pet it as she's flying and grappling it.
Okay.
Well, while this is going on, Drown was near the well because it's in the pool, right?
The well is in the middle of the pool. You are going
And
to the northeast.
How wide is the pool?
35 feet.
Oh, geez. All right.
So the well is about 15. The edge of the well, which is 5 feet in diameter, and in the middle is 15 feet from the edge. You were over by the mirror, which is about 5.5 feet from the edge. The
Okay.
pool's only got about a foot of water in it. It's just
Sure.
standing water, a little mildewy or algae filled.
Yeah, so Drown will reach out with his hand, and a sort of spectral tentacle will lash off of his tattoos, wrap around the hat, and whip it to his hand, mage hand.
Okay. Ooh, let's see.
Rolo
You-
would like to go with it.
You would like to what?
Go with it.
No,
He's pulling the hat. He's pulling
you
the
had
Fig's hat.
creature.
Oh, you're-
I'm grabbing Fig's hat.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for clarification, at this point, I'm just going to say that you know that this hat that's not a hat is a dark mantle. Which some of you may have already figured out, but that way I can refer to it as a dark mantle. Drown. You are pulling on this hat, and it seems to be very stuck. I would like you to make, through your tentacles, make an athletics check.
Since it's a spell, is athletics what you'd want?
No, you could use your
Like, just
spellcasting
charisma
modifier
check or
then
whatever.
for that.
So just straight charisma. That's a 15.
You are pulling on this, and you find you have to, even though it's this spectral tentacle that sort of reached out, it's like you yourself have to physically brace your feet on the floorboards as you're manipulating this, trying to pull this hat up. And you can see that the water that it was resting on is sort of coming up with it, and it's sticking to this hat. And as you pull, you see the water begin to rise up like surface tension, but then it keeps coming up in a cylinder. And as you pull up, you hear this very distinct splorching sound as a gelatinous cylinder is freed from the well and sort of into the pool next to you, still clinging on to the hat. And it appears to be trying to pull the hat inside its form. The other thing that happens as you do this is that now that you've pulled this gelatinous cylinder out of the well, water begins to and just starts bubbling up. Clean water, or cleanish. It's not as brackish as what was already in there, but fairly clean actually. Water starts bubbling up and begins to fill the pool. But you are engaged in a arcane grapple with a gelatinous cylinder.
Okay.
This is fine. Everything's fine. I'm going to continue riding the hat.
Okay. Cantriel and Thorgarn. As you're seeing all of this unfold, you see Rolo now, well, I guess, and Fig. You see out over the top of the well, Fig is sort of bouncing along the ceiling with this dark mantle, using one foot to pet it. It seems to be trying to get away. And you see that Drown has just pulled a gelatinous mass out of this well and is trying to rescue Fig's hat. What are the three of you doing?
This is why I moved. This is why I moved. And she's going to toss a produced flame at the back of the gelatinous cylinder.
Okay.
Yeah. taking care to make sure it's aimed lower or beyond where the hat is.
All right, so that produced flame.
Yes, let me. Hold on. Trying to get some dudes. Here we go. Okay, that is going to be a 16 to hit.
Yeah, that hits.
Oh, lovely. And then that is a total of 13. Higher.
13 fire damage. Yeah, you start to smell this, hear this hissing sound and smell this acrid smell as you start to burn into this cube.
So does the dark metal look like it's actually trying to hurt Rolo in any way, shape, or form?
If anything, it looks like Rolo is unintentionally squeezing this thing, just trying to pet it and hug it, and it looks like it's just trying to get away at the moment.
It's like one of those dogs.
And is it just like a wrestling match?
It is like a toddler with a puppy.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, the thing has a bunch of these little tentacles, but they don't seem to be terribly functional at the moment, as Rolo has it completely grappled. For the moment, it just looks like Rolo's holding on and trying to go for 8 seconds.
And what about with Drown? Does the gelatinous cube look like it's a gelatinous cylinder? My apologies. Does it look like it's doing anything to Drown, or is it just like my hat?
Drown is wrestling, trying to pull the hat out with his tentacles, and the cube, or cylinder rather, seems to be trying to absorb this hat.
And how far into water is the cylinder?
I would say, based on where Drown was and where you all are, it's closer to you, so within 5 feet of you.
Could I reach you over and try and, pull the hat?
You can certainly try.
So is that athletics?
Yeah, that would be, and I would say at advantage because Drown's tentacles are pulling on it.
That word. How is a natural 20 for a total of 29?
Oh,
29. I was gonna say, well, a natural 20 plus what? I rolled a 19 and have a 21. So there is again this scorching sound as Thorgarn, you pull Fig's hat free, and this top of the cylinder where it was holding onto it just kind of goes, and now you're sort of holding on to it while Drown's tentacles are pulling on it as well. But you freed it from the cylinder.
I'll brush off, any extra residue that might be there. Give Drown a look that, he can let go and, hand it towards Fig.
You get a little bit of a tingling sensation as you get some of this gelatinous goo on you. It's got a little bit of an acidic nature to it, but there's not enough of it concentrated to actually harm you. So you got Fig's hat back. Fig, what are you doing?
I think when Thorgarn is trying to get the hat, Fig's going to cast a firebolt at the cylinder.
Okay.
21 to hit.
Definitely a hit.
So for 16 fire damage.
Okay. So yeah, between the two of you, you've done about 29 points to it, and you see a singed piece of it, and your firebolt sort of burns in a little bit, and you can now see that there appears to be inside this cylinder at least 2 or 3 bullywugs worth of bones, though there seems to be like an extra two bullywug skulls inside there. But you've done a little bit of damage to it. Rolo, I need you to make a contested
Athletics.
check, as it is going to try to break your grapple.
I'm gonna re-roll.
Okay.
I'm gonna stick with 16.
Whoops. It has an 11.
Yay!
So it is trying to get away from you, and it can't. And as it's pulling and pulling, you just hear this little, and it inks. And a cloud of darkness surrounds you. And you all watch as the entire ceiling and part of this central area, actually this thing is big enough, almost the entire central area of the pool, the well, Rolo, and the dark mantle are now shrouded in darkness. You can see the gelatinous cylinder just sort of sticking out, and it seems to be moving towards you, Thorgarn, as you are the closest to it. Cantriel, you haven't done anything in a moment. What are you doing?
Well, the gelatinous cylinder is it doing anything? Has it been provoked, or is it just sort of like, splorching?
It's been hit. I mean, it's been hit by a couple of you, and
right.
It does seem to be within the water, which is rapidly, the water level is rising in this pool. It seems to be moving towards Thorgarn.
Okay, then yeah, she's going to do another produce flame towards it.
Okay.
That is going to be please. That is going to be what's my number say? 17 to hit.
Yeah, that's a hit.
Okay, and then we're looking at 15 fire.
All right, there's another, and as it burns away some of it, one of the bullywug skulls just goes and drops down into the pool. Thorgarn, I need you to make a dexterity saving throw as the cylinder almost does a slinky move to rise up out of the water and just sort of trying to engulf you.
All right, so obviously I can see the danger that's in front of me.
Yes.
Isn't he in the darkness? Or no?
No. The darkness is because the pool's 35 feet in diameter. The entire edge for about 2.5 feet around, all the way around of the pool, is not in darkness.
Gotcha.
So any of you that are on the walkway around it are not in darkness. What'd you get?
23.
All right. You are able to move out of the way as this cylinder sort of flips over and tries to get you, and you just dodge back out of the way, maybe bumping into a couple of these poorly dressed mannequins, as the cylinder is just next to you, and is now blocking the path between you and Drown. But it's right in front of you. Rolo? Sorry, Thorgarn, if you want to do something.
Yeah, does it look like it's moving, or was that like, do I interpret this as like it's acting aggressive?
It 100% was trying to get you.
All right. Well, then I'm gonna swing at this thing. No. And
In the dark.
No, the gelatinous,
It's cute.
the gelatinous cylinder. Nobody can see you or the dark mantle because you're in.
Gonna be my baby.
It farted darkness out.
I'm determined.
Ground can for what it's worth.
Oh yeah, drown you can. I imagine you see it almost like looking at when Frodo puts the ring on. You see this sort of swirling mass of translucent cloud, and you see Rolo inside hugging this thing. Why won't you love me?
That's the impression you get, yeah.
All right, what you doing, Thorgarn?
Yeah, I'm gonna swing away. The dice are actually doing really well tonight. It's a 31 and a 23.
Those are both hits.
$22 damage.
All right, you hit this thing. You hit it, and you, as you're wailing against it, it's like slamming into jello. And you see where you carve away pieces of it that just sort of drop, and when they hit the ground, they just sort of and begin oozing down through the cracks. But you see on the floor, wherever there's these sections of moss and mildew, you can see the as the acid sort of dissolves away at it. And it seems to be struggling to hold its form together at this point between the attacks you've all done against it. And I think at this point, you hear this tremendous roar, and you hear this heavy doosh, 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 heavy footsteps on the ground, as good lord. Okay, of course that happens. Talmud, who completely forgot was here because Jeremy's not here driving him. Talmud comes running past you, Drown, and the roar is just him. He's not even in a rage, and he just leaps into the air. Gerta Brelne over his head. The first roll was a 32 to hit, and as he comes down on top of this thing, the second hit is a critical hit.
Oh my god.
So I just gotta see what kind of damage he's doing. Cause that's okay. Why did I do that? 23. And okay, hold on. What was the extra? Oh my gosh, it's just ridiculous the amount of damage he just did with this thing. Because of the crit. Yeah, it's fully what you would expect. It's like if you ever watch the Hydraulic Press channel,
Yeah.
Talmud is the Hydraulic Press. As he comes in, Gerta Brelne over his head and slams it down, and just gelatinous cubes splatters everywhere, pieces of partially dissolved bone fragment going everywhere. And as of course both dwarves get completely coated in this slightly acidic ooze, he just wipes his brow and looks at you, Thorgarn, and says, "You thought I wouldn't save you, cousin. You were wrong."
Save me? I mean, the thing was bad before you hit it.
Potato, tomato. And the gelatinous cube is no more. Or gelatinous cylinder. Rolo. In the dark, wrestling with the dark mantle, what would you like to do?
I would like to befriend this dark mantle, so I'm going to kind of snuggle it and stroke it and make sweet cooing noises at it. And
There. It's okay. Rollo have you now. You're safe. You don't have to stay with mean Toad Lady. You come with us and be Rollo's best friend.
I need that so bad.
Make a charisma
No!
persuasion check.
I want animal handling.
It's not an animal.
Damn it! I don't have a good charisma, though. All right.
I find that hard to believe.
Rollo has a 10 charisma. Okay, 18.
Okay. So it is going to roll with disadvantage because of your attempts to love it. That is a crit and another number, so it'll be the lower of the two. I need you to make.
You will love me.
I need you to make a athletics check again.
Okay. Rerolling with the main die. Natural 20 minus 2 for an 18.
As the darkness begins to dissipate naturally in this area, you feel the dark mantle sort of relax in your grip, in your embrace.
Okay.
It doesn't seem to be struggling against you.
Okay. Rollo will loosen her grip and just stroke it.
Yes, it's okay. You're safe now. You with Rollo and the Dawnbringers.
And you all see Rollo petting a dark mantle up near the ceiling.
So, does it look like a hat or does it look like it's a stalagmite?
Now it looks like it's this sort of it looks like a hat with eyes and tentacles and kind of a leathery look about it. This does have a vaguely stalagmite appearance to it, but yeah, I mean, you can tell it's a creature. Are you letting go of it completely, or are you just loosening your grip on it?
Just loosening my grip. Still kind of holding it with both arms and petting it with my foot as I fly, but not like squeezing it.
Okay. What's your armor class?
Armor class is 15.
It begins to wrap its tentacles gently around you in like a multi-armed hug, and you just feel it sort of hugging around you, and then it starts hugging you tighter.
Okay.
And it starts hugging you tighter.
Mm-hmm.
And it starts hugging you tighter. And you feel your ribs popping a little bit as it hugs you 6 points of bludgeoning damage.
Got it.
As it is trying to crush you. In more ways than one. It wants to do physical and emotional damage.
Apparently. Oh, I'm gonna feel bad. Do I go again, or are you jumping to someone else?
I think we're gonna see how everybody else is reacting as you see Rollo petting this thing, and then you just see these arms sort of wrap around it, and then you see this thing pulling tighter and tighter, and then Rolo just kind of going, and you can tell this thing is wrapping. It's just constricting on Rolo.
Rolo, you okay there?
Yeah, Cantriel's starting to fire arrows at this point.
Fig wants to cast polymorph on the hat thing mantle.
Okay, I want the two of you, Cantriel and Fig, to roll an initiative roll to see who gets their thing off first. Let me rephrase
14.
that. Who gets their action off first?
I got a 5.
Okay. So Cantriel, you can take a full action worth of arrow shots.
Yeah, so Cantriel is going to 2 times go through and shoot, and we're actually going to toss in, for some good measure, we're going to do Slayer's Prey for that first shot, because Ranger. And that is going to be a 20... Wait, really? Yeah, 21 to hit.
Yeah, you almost hit it twice at that rate.
Okay, so then that totals up to... Actually, no, it was more than that. Never mind. She hits. So that is going to be a total of 19 damage.
Okay.
And then second one is going to be a 17 to hit.
Yep.
And that's 13 damage.
Rolo, you feel the dark mantle as it's squeezing you super tight. You just feel the grip loosening on you. And these tentacles wrapping around, and one of them that was sort of wrapped around up by your neck. As it starts loosening, this one tentacle just sort of lingers for a moment against your cheek and then slides away as the dark mantle falls backwards from you with 2 arrows sticking out of it and drops down into the filling pool. And you just see where it lands. This.
Oh, it doesn't. Rolo does not let go of it.
It just, okay, then it just sort of falls in your arms, now limp, like little more than a cape. And you just see the yellow eyes sort of roll back in its head. Fig, do you still try to polymorph it?
I mean, probably. It's probably like instantaneous. I imagine that like Cantriel shoots it, and then like half a second after, it turns into like a mouse.
And what was a dead dark mantle is now you are cuddling a dead mouse in your hands. Rolo.
Okay. Hang on.
Someone save Hattie!
Rolo. First of all, not a hat. Second of all, not a pet. Third of all, I'm not bringing back something that was going to squish you to death because it's going to do it again.
It was trying to kill you.
What she said.
Rolo's cheek. Rolo just didn't know how hard it was squeezing.
Oh, Fig, can you take a mouse and make it look like one of these?
A small mouse climbs
Have the
out.
temperament of a mouse, but look like one of these look like a hattie.
Let me double check that is the right. 1 second.
Unless Jake
Yeah.
amends the direction of the spell, no, it wouldn't allow you to do that.
I know, I'm having fun here.
However,
A small mouse climbs out of Rolo's backpack and up onto her shoulder.
Oh.
I have a pet.
Yeah.
I remember you
That's-
saying you had a pet mouse.
Yes.
Yep.
That's why I was saying, could you take a small mouse?
Because it's the Feywild, I will allow it if you're going to try to polymorph this mouse.
Yeah. Yeah, Fig would.
Okay.
Except, of course, he has to figify it, so it's probably going to be much more colorful than the other dark mantle. It's going to be like pink or something, or
I love it.
purple.
Red stripe.
Yeah.
Pink and purple stripes.
Mhm.
Kind of like the whole thing is sort of purple, like where the tentacles are and kind of where it goes up into the pointy hat shape, but the brim of it is pink, and there's these instead of yellow eyes, it has these electric blue eyes. And it seems very confused for a moment. And it sort of does a spin, and you just see all of these tentacles just flare out as it does sort of a back and forth. The tentacles going like this, and then it just goes moving through the air almost like a jellyfish, and it flits up above your head, Rolo, and then settles in on top of your head.
Rolo nestles her head up into it.
Below you and all around the rest of you, you see that the well has stopped violently gurgling up, and there's a slow trickle as the pool has filled up to 3 feet worth of depth. This giant lily pad is now sort of floating around it, and the mirror still sits on its stand in the one corner. And you hear on the western side of... Oh, let me double check that. No, you hear a creak, which would be about 10 or 15 feet from you, Cantriel. As you're looking at the pool, it would be to your right in the northwest corner where the spiral staircase is. You hear the creak of something on the steps, and you see one of those Lornlings looking over at all of you with these wide eyes, and then you hear as it takes off running up the stairs. And that's where we're going to end tonight's session.
Got my hat!
Righty.
There's a certain point as a DM when you realize there will be no discouraging your player from what they are attempting to do.
Yeah, yeah.
But also when it is a monstrosity that probably does not want to be your hat.
Probably not, no. But my pet mouse will.
But it's only going to be your pet mouse hat for an hour.
Hey, wow.
Maybe.
You never know.
Unless I keep
They
casting
will.
it for as long as.
You know what? I'm just curious. Fig. Roll me a D100.
$77.
77.
Mhm.
Okay. Roll a D100 twice.
Meaning 2 more times, or
Yes, that's what this says. Roll on the table twice and apply both results.
Okay.
I'm using an alternative Weird Arcana table from Fae Folio.
I got a 74 and a 42.
42 is a good number.
It's
Indeed.
the answer.
Indeed.
74 and a what?
42.
42.
Okay. 42. This is very perfect, this first option for you. For the next 10 minutes, you are completely surrounded, Fig, by a rainbow-colored circle of force. You have advantage on dexterity saving throws. As you cast this polymorph spell, and then the magic seems to fall back on you. This rainbow, it almost looks like a shimmery soap bubble, but the spectrum of colors is very much pronounced. Now, the secondary effect. There are, how many of you in this room? 1, 2, 3,
8.
4, 5, 6.
I think it was 8.
Yep. I'm going to roll a d8 with Hermes and the simulacrum falling in the spaces after you, Fig. Rolo, you are in the number 8 spot.
What, I win?
I need you to make a charisma saving
The
throw.
new hat.
No, not charisma. Charisma's my dump stat.
That's what it says, charisma.
All right, charisma saving throw. I want to reroll. Gonna reroll. Oh my god! One more time. 14. Should have stuck with the first one.
All right, roll a d100.
Okay. $54.
For the next 6 minutes. So just for the first few minutes of when we return next week, Rolo.
Yeah.
You are so overcome with the joy of your new mouse/dark mantle hat that you just get that giddy feeling that you just can't stop giggling and just, and it will affect your ability for the first 6 minutes to cast spells or talk normally to anybody.
Fair.
So that is what happens when you attempt to bend the rules of spells in the Feywild. Sometimes good, sometimes not so good. We'll see. But yeah, that's episode 10. Cauldron Bubbles. Next week, we will return for another episode of Dawnbringers as you are in Bavlona Blightstraw's cottage. And she knows you're there, apparently. So we'll see what happens with that. In the meantime, be sure to tune in to Nerdarchy tomorrow night, the regular Nerdarchy channel on YouTube, to catch me and Ted and some other friends as we play Untraditionally Arcane. And Monday night is Scribe.
More Feywild antics.
Yeah, more Feywild. Monday night is Untraditionally... Monday night is Scribes and Scrolls, the Candlekeep Mysteries. And I forgot to mention, this Tuesday, I'm going to be on 2 separate Twitch channels in 2 separate finales happening that involve a Domain of Dread. I will be on fortnerd.com for our finale of The Dreadful Tales. And those VODs go up on Fortnerd YouTube channel. But I will also be live on Dice on Ice RPG with M as we are in the finale of our nearly 3-year-long campaign of Curse of Strahd. It is the final session. And I believe at the end of the last session, I was unconscious. So, and it's like the 3rd time I've died. So things are going well. Thank you to everybody who tuned in tonight. As always, we are super appreciative of everybody who shows up and helps to support the channel through your subs and your gift subs and all that stuff. We appreciate that. And if you are somebody who somebody who likes to lurk quietly in the chat and not participate in the chat. We appreciate that. Appreciate you all the same, and hope you enjoy our game as well. Finally, I was trying to vamp, and I realized I was immediately moving into the final greeting. I need to figure out who we're gonna raid. I don't know who to raid. Lonzo Gonzo is streaming some Magic the Gathering, so we're gonna send a raid over that way. So finally, I want to say, as always, a huge thank you to all of my amazing players that I am so lucky I get to play with all of you. Thank you to V, Dan, M, Ted, Katie, and even though he wasn't here with us tonight, he was here with us in spirit, Jeremy, without whom it would just be me talking to myself for a couple hours. With that, we're going to send a raid over to Lonzo Gonzo, and we're going to end the stream the same way we end every stream, and you can say it with me if you want.
Oh my word!